So do you have any ideas for the cold open?
I mean, I could come over there and we could, get a little frisky.
Welcome to the Garlic Boys podcast. So we treat friendship like a good recipe treats garlic. You can never have too much of it. We're your hosts. I'm Connor O'Connor.
And I'm Connor O'Connor. I'm just kidding. Matt Haux, what's up, fellas?
You know, Matt, you got me flustered here because why haven't we kissed?
I think we've gotten nose to nose before, and then either chickened out or I don't know.
Because we're both. I mean, you're comfortable in who you are and what you identify as. I'm comfortable about who I am and how I identify.
Yeah.
We don't care what our fiancés say, right?
Yeah.
We don't need permission. So why don't we just kiss?
We should just kiss.
Yeah.
I still have a video of you and a person who shall not be named because they voted for somebody stupid kissing.
Yeah.
I have it saved on my phone.
It sucks when you find out later in life you accidentally kissed a Nazi.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff.
Honestly, though, it's probably not the first time.
I think in our college career, you maybe kissed 3 men in a non-sexual way.
Just that you know about. I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
And to clarify, Connor is, as far as I'm aware, a completely heterosexual man, with maybe a little bit of fruitiness sprinkled in there, just a tiny bit.
It's like John Mulaney said, all of the switches were gay except for the last one that actually made me attracted to men.
Yeah,
everything about me is yep, that's a gay man, and then the one switch is male attractiveness, oh, that's the only thing stopping me from being gay is I love women.
Exactly. That's exactly.
It does kind of feel like I'm just trying to convince myself now, but also, boy, do I love women.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah. You definitely. I mean, it was.
It's consensual.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%, 100% consensual.
So the thing is, I'm not saying. Now, don't misconstrue this. I'm not saying that it's a joke to be gay, or there's something inherently funny about being gay. I just think there was something inherently funny about me kissing guys.
Yeah, like kissing your friends.
Right. Yeah, I just think that was funny.
It was more to get a reaction out of the surrounding people.
It was a bit to kiss the homies goodnight.
Yeah.
And so I did it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the only one with commitment to the bit doesn't make me gay.
Just because I want to kiss all the men's soft, supple lips doesn't make me gay.
Just because these hot men are just coming around me and just with their supple lips and just begging to be kissed doesn't make me gay. This is a weird conversation to start the first episode of June with. I did not realize that. I'm just thinking about the calendar now, actually.
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Happy Gay Month.
Happy Gay Month. What's up? Wow. Yeah, I just totally lost everything I was going to say ever.
I don't know what to say now.
So we finally watched the Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I've seen Ghostbusters 1, but I've never seen Ghostbusters 2.
Okay.
In its entirety. I've seen bits and pieces, but never seen it in its entirety. I love that they brought back, I mean, basically everybody from the first one. They didn't even try. Rick Moranis was a fun character in the new. He was a lawyer. Well, that was crazy. For him to be their lawyer was just really. It's I
thought he was their accountant because he was an accountant in the first one.
Yeah,
and a super successful one too.
No, he was their lawyer in the second one. And he reminded me of what's his name? Hornswoggle from Psych. Like that kind of level of I have no idea what I'm doing and it's your fault that I'm here. He's like, what the heck?
Yeah, I mean, for being as incompetent as he is, he also was like, he had a work party that he knew that he could deduct, got a bunch of people there to hang out and like straight up party with, and like they were having fun. Like that was a bumping party.
Yeah.
And yet he's played as like a joke in the movie. I think he's the coolest character in the movie, and he doesn't get enough credit.
I think Rick Moranis is very good at playing like the kind of quirky, nerdy guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Very good at it. Like he's in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as kind of like he's a scientist. He's a quirky, nerdy guy.
Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah, all like that whole series, all that. Which I need to watch those again.
In Honey, I Blew Up the Kids too.
In Little Shop of Horrors, he's like that nerdy, quirky guy. The only thing I've seen that he is in that isn't like that is obviously Spaceballs.
You haven't seen Spaceballs?
No. I've seen Spaceballs, but he's not the nerdy, quirky guy. He's the villain.
I think he's still his appearance is used as a sort of funny, quirky guy.
Yeah, like a guy not to be taken seriously, almost.
Right.
Even
because he's a villain, but he doesn't want to be taken seriously.
Use the Schwartz.
Okay. So he is in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
He is in Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Nice.
Which is the first sequel. And 4 out of the original cast members are there. In this one, they blow up a 2-year-old to gigantic proportions.
Yep.
And then there's a threequel. And the first movie was in 90 or 80, 89. Yeah. And then the second one was in 97. No, 92. Jeez, dyslexia. Third one is in 97. And that is Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. And this was a direct to video release.
Oh, okay.
And Rick Moranis is the only actor that reprised the role.
Oh, that's
the other ones were recast.
very sad. I get it, but like if you don't have, in my opinion, if you don't have the original cast for most of the characters, like if you're bringing back one singular actor, maybe don't make the movie. You know what I mean? Like it just, didn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they tried to do one in like a remake too, starting in 2018, where they were going to try to get Rick Moranis out of his retirement, but it seems like it was just stalled in production. Josh Gad was also supposed to be in it.
Oh, okay. Maybe as like some of the kids that grew up or something like that.
Maybe. It says here that in June 23rd, 2023, Josh Gad revealed on Twitter that the project had been put on hold indefinitely. So who knows?
Hey, Blade was put on hold indefinitely at one point too, and we're hopefully getting that here soon as well.
I was told that movie was dead.
Really?
But
you might be correct. I might have heard something different, but I heard something about it.
Back to
I'm listening.
Ghostbusters 2. What'd you think of the slime?
The slime. Oh,
the ooze.
That was I did not. I can say that this bad guy didn't feel as great, I guess, as Gozer did in the first one. But it was an interesting concept, and I don't even understand how they made it like happy ooze, and then they I don't know. It was weird.
So New York City is such a mean and unlivable place.
Right, that it's like
this is written by people that lived in New York.
Yeah.
This place sucks so much that this ghost ooze was feeding off of all the negative emotions and starts attacking and like expanding through the city. But if you give it positive emotions, like they did with the toaster, it started dancing and like could move. Which, sure.
Yeah, right.
And so they find the happiest song they could find, which is Higher,
Okay.
I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
Um, and start playing that while they spray the inside of the Statue of Liberty
And then,
with
yeah, and then they get
the
the
ooze.
Statue of Liberty walking through town to bring everybody's spirits up, to make everybody happy.
Right. Because they needed a symbol of New York and of joy and positivity. And what's more positive than the than the Statue of Liberty?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I tried to get through it without laughing. I don't know. I liked the movie a lot,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
guess when you kind of say it,
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but it is the Ghostbusters. The new ones definitely have, like, the newest ones definitely have like a more real, darker feel to them, but they are still very comical. And I think that they improved on and stayed true to the original stories.
right?
I'm such a big fan.
I really liked. I think they do a very good job of the special effects
Mm-hmm.
in these. Like, it's that old school like style, and I think it's ILM. Yeah, so it's the Star Wars people
Mm-hmm.
that were doing it, and like where it doesn't look fake, but like you can tell like oh that's definitely like not in the scene, but it's like, oh, there's an etherealness and like a see-throughness to it that like just because it doesn't look real, it doesn't look bad. And that's what
Yeah.
I've always liked about the Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah, for sure. I do in the originals they used a lot of not just digital effects, but they did like a lot of their ghosts, if not all of them, were like practical. Like they look like essentially puppets, like mechanical machines. And in the newest ones, I believe most of the ghosts are digital effects. They're all like CGI, except for I'm pretty sure Slimer is still the practical effects. Like I know they use to make it digitally look like a ghost, but I'm pretty sure it's still a mechanical puppet. Essentially, I could be wrong, but it looks a lot like the original Slimer, which I'm almost positive was entirely practical, like puppety with obviously digital.
I think they had a puppet and then they made it look practical.
Yeah.
But like I said, even if they did, like they would do that in Star Wars too. There was always like some practical element to what they did that made it look real as well as fake. Like the in the first Star Wars when he's going over that pit to get to the controls to whatever Obi-Wan's doing. That was all like a board that was put in front of the camera to make it seem like it was there. They were using like depth perception and like things like that to make these scenes look big. Like when the Emperor's ship is coming in the third one, you have all those stormtroopers there. Those are all just painted on a backdrop. Like those aren't really there. And like even the ships and everything moving through space, all of that. And so like in this where you have the the vortex coming out of the ghost trap to trap the ghosts in it and everything, like it seems like it is a part of it because there was probably something practical, like maybe a light was coming out of it and like light sources, like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they were doing that kind of work back then and it looked so good compared to how some CGI and like effects look now,
Yeah.
I think it holds up better than a lot of other things.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you distracted by right now?
the Blade movie. I'm trying to see if there's any like actual confirmed information. In May, Disney's Bob Iger said Marvel Studios will stick to somewhat reduced schedule for its Marvel Cinematic Universe projects, with no more than 3 movies or TV shows per year. Oh, sorry, 3 movies and 2 TV shows per year. And so, yeah, no, Blade was taken out of the running for this year, but it sounds like it's not dead. I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. Someday when Mahershala Ali is dead, 97, he can play the role,
When his grandchild is old enough to finally be Blade.
Eventually we'll have immersive movie tech, you know what I mean? Like where you feel like you're in the movie.
I mean, they already have those 4D theaters that like pump smell in there and like spray water on you and stuff like that.
But what I want is to be completely immersed. Like I want a digital playroom essentially where like they're walking past me. Like I can feel them brush up against my arm. If I get stabbed, I get stabbed. You know what I mean? Like I want to feel that. I want to feel it. What they should do is those haptic vests that they have for like video games and stuff. They should provide those to everybody. They should provide little VR goggles so it can be like completely immersed. And if like they're in the path of a sword or something, they feel a sword going into them.
Isn't that just the sandbox VR gameplay places?
Yeah, but like every movie should have that.
I don't think you can do VR for that long. I think like it will destroy your eyes.
Give breaks every once in a while, just like an intermission. Be like, hey, this is the intermission. Rest your eyes. Look at something 40 feet away so you don't destroy your vision.
Let's all go to the lobby. Like that just starts playing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good way.
Take off our goggles.
It's actually a really good way to get people out into the lobby and in intermission in a movie. It's a really good way to get people out in the lobby so that they can get more snacks. It's like a double dipper on the snacks, right? Like some people will go out there, oh well, it's an intermission, might as well go get more snacks.
I mean, I usually do buy the extra large popcorn where I can get a refill, but I never know when, like, I can't leave the movie. This is my first time watching it. So, like, I guess if there was an intermission, I would feel more comfortable.
We need to, every time we go to the movie, we need to maybe, like, pay somebody, like, $20 just to be the designated snacks getter, right? Like, you're not interested in the movie. You've seen it before or you just don't care.
We got to get a book reader that, like...
Yeah, that doesn't like movies, and just send them out to go get snacks and then bring them back in.
That's what I mean?
So that we don't have to leave the movie, because I hate that too. That's why I love those movie theaters that are like full service now. And I know I don't want to sound lazy when I say this, but like I don't want to leave the movie. I love watching the movie, so that's kind of why I'm here. So if I could just like boop 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 get me some popcorn, and then like the worker brings me some popcorn, that's pretty dope.
And plus, like with movies getting longer, like I unfortunately had to leave the movie theater the first time I watched Endgame because I had to pee, and I left and I missed Natasha dying.
Yeah, like that's you never know, especially with like, for the most part, I'm going to see Marvel movies. You know what I mean? And I don't want to miss a single detail, because we all know that every single detail in every single movie is so dang important. I mean, not always, but you know,
every single detail.
Speaking of, I finally saw Thunderbolts.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's get to that now. Can you imagine wearing the haptic vest watching that movie?
Oh man, that would be rough. That would be rough.
And then everybody gets a different nightmare scene.
That would be such a cool immersive experience, though. I'm just saying, like, maybe we should make this happen. Maybe we figure out a way to immerse people without using the VR goggles. You know what I mean? Like somehow we're projecting it into the room without them having to use those so they don't hurt their eyes. Anyway, regardless, Thunderbolts. I cried at least 4 times. I'm not even joking.
Okay.
I was sobbing.
I typically when we do these, we give like a little bit of like non-spoiler things. The movie's been out for like at least a month now.
Yeah, I saw it very late, so now's
we're behind.
It was so ominous.
I'm disappointed in Matt. That's why.
Yes, you should be.
I usually am. So let's just jump into it. This movie was insane. Everything about it was crazy, and I think it's one of the best movies I've seen
recently.
Hey, leave her alone. Yeah, the
Gotcha.
dog was chasing her, I think. Anyways, Yelena was incredible. Like all of the characters, I think had an incredible story, like enough screen time. Except for one,
Taskmaster.
Okay,
that was stupid. I hated that.
I think it would have been worse if none of them died.
Fair.
If we had gone through the movie and everyone lived, I think it would have been worse.
But 10 seconds into the movie?
It was like 10 minutes. I mean, it was 10 minutes of 10 seconds of her being on screen.
Yeah. I listen, they already did her dirty in Black Widow. Then they do it again in this movie. Like, maybe that's why they did it, because they got so much pushback in the Black Widow movie. And they're like, well, let's just get rid of the character then. But like, Taskmaster is such a good character.
Anthony Masters has the ability to mimic the skills of anyone after just watching them once. So if he fights you, he learns your fighting style and can use it against you. Only person he can't do it against is Deadpool, because he is too wild and unpredictable in his fighting style.
Right. That's the thing. I'm very disappointed with how they've done Taskmaster, because Taskmaster is so cool. Such a cool. I love, like, he was in the Ultimate Spider-Man show, I think.
Yeah.
And like, I think that was my first like real introduction to Taskmaster.
It was also mine.
Yeah, and then he was in the video game, the Spider-Man video game, and he's such a cool character. So cool. Like that ability is so insanely overpowered to the point where you could basically take on any hero. Like, I know there's obviously like power differences, like Captain America, if he hits a punch, whether you block it or not, you're gonna go flying. You know what I mean? So like, there's obviously, offsets to it, but like the ability to see somebody's fighting style and mimic it almost exactly to the point where they can barely touch you. Come on. That's insane.
It would have been nice. I think it's good, because then we wouldn't have just 4 people on the team that are really good at shooting someone.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, like 3 of them have super soldier serum. 3 of them used to be Russian spies. 4 of them were used by 3 of them were used by Val as assassins for her own dirty business. And so like they all kind of have the same niche, and yet like they're different flavors of it.
Yeah.
Like the only one that I feel is like super unique is Ghost, because she has the power to travel through walls and everything. And so then you have like Bucky, John, and Alexei, all super strong super soldiers. 2 of them have shields. Like there are things that each of them have that like I get why they're there, but they're also kind of just like occupying the same space.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think having then another person that kind of just does all of that would have mucked up the team too much.
Yeah.
And also I think it would have been too much to have another character within everything, because you already have Yelena as the main character, Bob as your secondary character. Like those are our 2 mains. And then you have your second supporting cast, which is Val, Alexei, and I'd say John. And then you have Ghost, Bucky, and the assistant as your next round under that. And so like you have all of these ones to serve, and you get your most emotional depth out of the top two, and the three different characters that Bob is playing with Bob, Sentry, and Floyd,
Yeah.
which I think they did brilliantly.
Very good. I will agree.
Because even when he was like hair slicked back, like buff man standing there, didn't look like Bob. Like he held himself in a different way, and sort of like that
Like
Superman Clark Kent
and
thing.
Clark Kent thing. Yes, exactly.
Which he is one of Marvel's allegories to Superman.
Yeah. I mean, the big old S on his chest.
But he's also such a more cool character than that in the comics.
Yeah. I'd love to read more with him in it.
He's not a golden age hero, but he is. So he was created in like the early 2000s, like late 2000s, early 2010s, I think, and was retconned to be a hero that's been around since the golden age of like Captain America and all of that. Yeah. But he's forgotten about quickly, and so was his watchtower, which is located right where Avengers Tower was built.
Yeah.
So in the comics, the watchtower is right over Avengers Tower, unlike in the movie where it was turned into the watchtower and everything.
Yeah.
And instead of being a hero that was created by focus group, he was one that was just kind of forgotten after being experimented on, and having that fragile psyche of possible schizophrenia and things like that. But he keeps forgetting it, and he just thinks he's Bob, until he is reminded that he's Sentry, and all of that happens and everything. And so it's a really creative idea of there's this super powerful, unstoppable, basically character that no one remembers exists, and is also a demonic nightmare.
Yeah, for real. That was I actually thought like, and maybe it would have ended up this way if they hadn't like gone in and saved everybody, right? But I thought when he started like wiping people off, like I thought that they were dead. I really did. Like the little girl, oh my goodness. That was the worst, like, bam, in your face shock that I've ever experienced.
I was like, oh, we're just killing children now, Marvel? Because like we didn't know that they were gonna be fine. I was like, she's just dead. She's just dead.
I looked at Mia, my jaw was on the floor. Like that was insane. Because it was like, it was so sweet. Oh, I'll help you find your mom. Boom, dead. You're dead. You're gone.
It was such an emotional moment for Alexi too, because like all he wants to do is like reconnect with what he sees as his daughter.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, there was a theory I saw of why we never saw Alexi's like moment. Like we saw Elena's, we saw John's, and we see a lot of Bob's. But one reason we never saw Alexi's, not just because they didn't have time to show it, but because we've already seen it.
Oh, okay.
There's a theory that his is at the airstrip in Cuba when they had to take the girls from him in the first place.
Yeah.
And that would have been his scene.
Oh, heart-wrenching.
Mm-hmm. Because ever since they came back in his life, all he wants to be is just their dad.
Yeah. He's such a good, like, he was feeling a lot of his own feelings, which is why he never contacted Elena. So, like, yeah, he probably could have made a little more of an effort at that point. He wanted to, I understand the reason why he didn't do it. I'm not going to go into the entire reason why he didn't do it. I understand the reason why he didn't do it, but he could have been a little bit more of a contact to Yelena, and she was upset about that in the movie. But he is, like, when he's there, he is such a good dad. Oh my goodness. He cares so much for both of them. Obviously,
him getting out of the limo and screaming across the desert at them. Peak dad embarrassing his daughter in front of her friends.
She's like, oh no, oh no.
I'm not going to mention how it's impossible for him to drive from the outskirts of Virginia to what I have to assume is Nevada in 12 hours, but hey.
Yeah, especially because like they were already. Oh, well, it could have been in. Where was he? Virginia?
They were outside of Virginia because later he's seen picking up Val
Yeah.
from the event. Oh no, it would have been in New York because they were at an event.
Yeah.
Or were
Because
they
that's where the Avengers Tower is. They
or
were.
were they in Congress when that happened? Because there was a bunch of congressmen and Bucky was there and everything.
Could have been DC, but regardless,
There,
depending on
there wouldn't have been enough time.
yeah, that's a big old drive. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, maybe that's a little plot hole, but that's okay. He gunned it the whole way there. He was going 140 miles an hour. You can make that trip in 12 hours at 140 miles an hour in a limo.
That would be true if we didn't also see him gunning it later and in barely getting above 50.
Maybe because he used all the gunning power to get there, Connor. These are just things you don't think about, Connor. You're a movie guy. You should.
You're right. I'm thinking of the practical nature of things, not the impractical and the way that things still could have happened.
Yeah. I think the fact that they were essentially getting burned alive as Val was in his limo is like, that's insane for him to get there in that amount of time. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it would have taken them a while to climb up
yeah,
the wall. That's fair.
I literally looked at Mia. I'm like, this is the Emperor's New Groove. Like that's all this is the Emperor's New Groove.
Sharp racks at the bottom. Oh yeah, bring it on. How do you feel about Disney making another movie where the power of friendship is the thing that saves everyone in the end?
I don't care. I don't mind that. Like, I don't think obviously this should be every movie, but there are movies where we could go into the emotional aspect of things rather than just the physical punchy aspect of things. You know what I mean? Like we explored not only Bob's character and his emotional trauma and everything like that, we also got to explore a lot of Yelena's, you know what I mean, throughout the whole movie. And I relate to Yelena. Like I related to her more than any character in this dang movie. And every time she talked, I was sobbing. Every single time. Which is like the whole movie, because as you said, she's like the main character along with Bob. So goodness, they hit a lot of they hit a lot of things like right on the head. And I was loving it. I loved that movie, and it was obviously very emotional for me, but
I saw people complaining about it, but I want to just say, as someone who has depression, you can't punch away your sadness.
yeah, it leaves you more sad at the end of the day. You're
my knuckles don't line up properly because I've tried punching away the sadness. I punched the wall a lot when I was mad.
That's unhealthy, buddy.
I know.
I've punched the wall a few times too. I hear you. That's why I got a punching bag that I don't. It's currently covered in my blood.
Gross.
Yeah.
But I do think like the void is a manifestation of the literal darkness within him. And so to say that in that moment you can't punch away your sadness and you just have to like literally come together with your friends and like know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
They didn't know each other that long, but this was the first time Bob was shown that kind of love and support.
Yeah.
And like that was enough. And so I do think it's not a bad thing to have a movie that says like sometimes you just got to be kind to other people.
I think probably yes, absolutely. I'm not trying to go in a different direction.
Sorry, just real quick, especially when the main skill of all your heroes in the movie is punching.
Fair enough. Yeah, sometimes you got to use different tactics. I think that the most heart-wrenching part in the entire movie, and it's a kind of subtle part, right? If you're not really thinking about it, but Yelena walking into the shadow, not knowing if it was going to kill her or not. You know what I mean? Like she was walking in there in part to see if she could, I guess, in a way, commune with Bob, and bring him back. But she had no idea if that was going to kill her or not. She had no idea if this is going to send her into an alternate realm. She was just walking in there. That was the moment I was sobbing the hardest.
She knew she had to be a hero.
Yeah, but she also knew that this would very likely kill her, which I mean is kind of like the hero thing to do. But
you also have to think about how just a little while later we see her where we can assume she was at her rock bottom.
Yeah.
Where she was drunk in the bathroom, like sleeping right next to the tub, which I have to assume takes place after Natasha.
Yeah, after she died.
And all of that. And so like she was there. She already was starting to feel numb, didn't know what she was doing anymore, all of that. I mean, yeah, she had that hamster she saved, but like, you know, what else is she gonna do?
Right.
I do wish that hamster has superpowers, because it was at the same lab that we see that Sentry was at.
That would be so hilarious. I would love if a little hamster came in.
If you go back, if you look at the beginning of the movie, that lab, you can see the burn marks.
Yes. Oh, I saw
the void marks of people on the wall.
I saw them the first time, but I didn't know what they were until later. Like I noticed them, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And then they didn't like really do anything with the shadow until much later in the movie, and they're like, "Oh, that's what that was."
Right.
Insane.
So with all of that being said, Val then tricks them to go to the press conference where she announces them as the new Avengers. We finally learn what the asterisk in the name was and how like they're not the Thunderbolts, they're the new Avengers. How do you feel about that?
What a sneaky little bum. I hate her. I hate Val so much. The fact that she was like, "Oh no, don't hurt me," and we're live, you know, with the new event. Like, come on. She has everything planned out.
Yeah.
Honestly, off the top of my head, can't remember the actress's name. Plays her so well.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah. She was in Seinfeld. So anyway, she is so conniving and incredible in this role. And I think the new Avengers thing is not gonna last. I don't think. Maybe it'll be like, it could very well be like this is, I don't, obviously not West Coast, but like a West Coast Avengers type deal where like they are the Avengers, but they're not the official Avengers, right? Because Sam is obviously trying to put together his team. You saw that in the end credits scene where he was fighting with them over being the Avengers. So I think there's still an asterisk that's going to be there, right? Like, right. Because who knows if they're going to still be quote unquote the Avengers, the new Avengers, whatever. So whenever Sam puts together his team, I guess we'll see where that goes. I think it was so funny that that she named it she mentioned the Thunderbolts, didn't even really like say this is what we should name the team. But she was just like talking about her soccer team when she was a kid. And Alexi goes, "We are the Thunderbolts." Like he's just like all in on it. You named them after your soccer team? Like I just think it was so Alexi and so great.
And how he keeps misremembering it, that it was sponsored by his business and not another business.
Yeah, I love David Harbour. Like as an actor, one of my favorite actors of this era, right? And he plays Alexi so dang well. I love it.
I started watching a new show and he's kind of on it every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because the show is from like 2012.
Yeah.
And so he's not jacked yet.
Oh yeah. Right.
It's kind of like skinny David Harbour.
he said something in the movie about being Santa Claus. Like they literally like said something about him being Santa Claus. And I looked at Mia. I'm like, that's crazy, right? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he's the Violent Night Santa Claus. Like that's why it's
Did
crazy.
you not realize it was him?
She did not. She had no
Oh.
idea. She's like, oh, we haven't watched that in a couple years. I'm like, how do you? He was like the main character. He had the most screen time in that.
He was the Violent Night.
Yeah, we need to rewatch that this Christmas.
Agreed. But then we get to the post-credit scene of them in the new Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
This scene was directed by the Russo brothers too. And
Just
so right, because it connects to Doomsday and
oh god. They talked about
the future. Alexi's in a fun little sponsored racing outfit.
Yeah.
John Walker has a beret on now.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that his shield is still bent. They never bend it back.
Yeah.
Yelena is the team leader, but Bucky's kind of like on her left there, you know. Reference.
Get it?
And Bob's still around, though they're not giving him like he's not going into sentry mode. He's just doing the dishes.
Yeah.
It was great to see that. Like, yes, there is problems with like Sam and like now there's tensions with him and Bucky and everything, but also that they're actually getting to be heroes, kind of.
Yeah.
And we see that with them getting the alert that the Fantastic Four rocket is coming towards Earth.
They have entered the scene.
Which is wild because it's supposed to be in a different universe.
Right. So we're going to see in the Fantastic Four movie, which is coming up next, exactly how they get to this universe.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
So the rocket in the post-credit scenes has 4 pins on the back of it.
Yes,
the rocket in the trailer only has 3.
You don't think that maybe they could build another rocket? Maybe they lose their rocket and build another one with 4 fins on it? I get it.
Not with the idea that Galactus is coming to devour their world.
Right. But if they lose it, say they have the 3-finned rocket at the beginning of the movie, and then by the end of it, they have a 4-finned rocket. You know, that's already in development. You know, the Fantastic Four finned rocket. It's possible. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like, I don't know how they're planning on doing this. I don't think they're gonna like give us the Fantastic Four and then be like, well, now in another universe, another Fantastic Four team comes in, and now they're the ones that come into the MCU. It's the same Fantastic Four. We just haven't figured out how.
Who knows?
It could also be a mess up in production.
Who knows?
It could be that it's supposed to have 3 fins. Oops. Whoops.
It will take us another 1.5 years to find out, though, because Doomsday actually got moved back from, I think, a May release date to a December release date.
I'm going to kill myself.
No, I think a delay is a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it usually is a decent.
We have to believe it's a good thing, right?
Listen, I'm all for, like, if you want to delay something to get it right, that's totally fine. But then we have situations like Cyberpunk 2077 where they delayed it for years and years and years and years. They kept pushing it back and back and back. And it released, and it was the most garbage game ever released. Like, I'm exaggerating, obviously, quite a bit, but like it had so many issues when it first released that it was almost unplayable for most people. Like, if you're gonna push something back, make sure it's actually good. You know what I mean? Like, don't just give us garbage when you're pushing it back.
I think there's a difference with video games than there are with movies.
Yeah,
because movies you kind of have to announce nowadays. Because people are going to be able to see if it's filming, like if it's out in public, and like, hey, that's a Superman costume. I can see that. Mm-hmm. They're doing a Superman movie. But like with video games, it's pretty much all a secret unless it gets leaked. And so like when you have Scarlet and Violet, they didn't have to announce it when it when it came out. I think they did that to keep up with like a release schedule that they've been doing like every 3 years of releasing a game. And then also there was like the 25th anniversary or there was some reason they did it, but the game wasn't good enough. But now we're sticking with Legends ZA, which for a whole year and a half we didn't really know anything about, or pretty much. And now like we're still not quite sure about the information, but like the things that we're seeing don't look horrible.
Yeah.
Because they took the time to probably make the game better than what we would have gotten if they didn't. And I think it's easier to do that with a video game of just like, hey, don't announce it until we have like a decently good game.
Yeah. And then you can release patches to improve the game. You can't really do that with movies. But like, I don't know. With movies, I don't mind them pushing it back. Just focus on making a good movie. That's why I'm not upset about Blade. I'm really excited for Blade. I hope it comes out someday. I really, really hope it comes out because it could be a really, really cool addition to the MCU. But make sure it's good. If it's not good, don't release it.
There's only one movie I'm upset that they keep pushing back.
Which one?
Release Beyond the Spider-Verse, you cowards.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
We were supposed to get it like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm excited. They better.
I'll get the movie.
I'll get the movie one way or another. That brings me up to a point where I don't know what time we're at. But did we talk about Oscar Isaac playing like possibly? Yeah, we did. We did talk about this, didn't we? Where the possibility of him playing 3 different roles, any of 3 different roles in Avengers Doomsday would be quite insane. I mean, the likelihood is Moon Knight to bring him finally into the movies, but the possibility
would be funny if it was Apocalypse because everyone hates that he was Apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get that. I was not a huge fan of that movie in general, but he could be Moon Knight finally in the MCU. I don't want Moon Knight. I don't want Moon Knight to be in the MCU like permanently. I want every once in a while they bring in Moon Knight into the movies. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like Deadpool. If he was in every single Marvel movie, I'd probably kill myself. Sorry, I'm not trying to use that lightly. I just keep saying it. I don't know why.
It's like how they don't have like if they every once in a while do like a 12-issue series about Moon Knight, like that's fine. You don't need a continuous epilogue about him.
Yeah. I think even if we just leave him to like a TV show and then bring him into a movie here and there, maybe like the big ones, the Avengers, you know what I mean? Like the big collaborative, all superheroes on deck kind of movies, bring him in and again, doesn't have to be every one as long as we have a solid TV show going. But who knows? We haven't gotten a season 2 of that or even announced for that in forever. So
what was that?
I'm just so there's so many good projects out there that have been like given up on. So many misses, so many hits, and it's very sad because I loved Moon Knight. It was so good.
Didn't have the ratings.
The ratings can suck my behind. You look like Jack Black when you did that, by the way.
The rating.
Oh no! See, now you just screwed it up. Now you just
rating.
No, it's like it's like when somebody says, "Man, that face you made or that expression you did was so cool. Do it again." And then you try to do it again. They're like, "No, that's not the expression.
That's not what you did.
You did it on impulse, and now you can't recreate it." And no, you're gonna have to look. When you edit the video, you're just gonna have to see what I'm talking about.
You're right. Well, then let's get a move on that. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Garlic Boys. If you want more from us, you can check us out on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as Threads. For more information from
we're on Threads.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
You can also head over to patreon.com/garlicboys to help support the show. Your money helps us actually like make the show, so it's really helpful if you can support us over there for as little as $3 a month. I swear that helps us. Please consider it. Head on over to youtube.com/@thegarlicboys to watch video versions of this show as well as the Clever Boy Quiz, the show. All episodes of the first season of that should be up there, and we're working on season 2 right now for you to enjoy. And if you want merch from us, you can head over to our Redbubble shop and search the Garlic Boys to find merch designs by Matt and I. Matt, do you have a supplementary mom report for this week?
I do, and it is from Dungeon Crawler Carl, book 5, I think, The Butcher's Masquerade. Her name is Kiwi. She is a velociraptor. And, if you know, you know. I'm not even going to spoil it.
Okay.
It just put the piece together, listeners. It's a velociraptor getting pregnant. Come on. Okay, sorry.
Mine's going to be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice.
A human.
Boo. We've done so many humans. We might as well start branching out, Connor. Come on.
Not only the way you said that. Thank you so much for listening. I'm not even going to ask you for your final thought. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. And remember, as always, to stay garlicky. Carl's not the reason the velociraptor is pregnant, right?
No, that's gross. They have a pet velociraptor named Mongo. That's
Better be.
It is. Carl would never. That's gross. He does. There's nothing like that. He wears his boxers all the time. But
would you
with a velociraptor? Don't they usually eat the heads off of their mates?
That's praying mantis.
I'm pretty sure velociraptors did that too. Could be
who knows?